Fishing Doctor's Adventures. Today we're going back out for some trout. Hopefully they're biting. It's a little bit of cold front, clear skies, blue, sunny. It's minus 12 right now. Pretty chilly for British Columbia. Usually I'm fishing in much warmer temperatures, but I'll get bundled up. I'll put a camera down, the CANFISH CF1. Took some cool shots the other day, but unfortunately one of my cards corrupted, so I'll just compile that day with today. Whatever I get, I get. So hopefully it's a good day fishing today. Got to make up for a lot of small fish the other day. So stick around, should be fun. Thanks for watching. Feels like a little one still. Small fish in here. I'm catching all the little guys today. This one real fast. There we go. They come in so aggressively. Oh, little guys. Sun finally came out, but all I can catch is small fish today. Little guys on this little tantrum. They're pretty aggressive. Like I've seen fish in every hole from 6 feet deep out to 30 feet deep, and they'll just come in mid-water column or on the bottom and shoot up to the lure and just smash it. So, but that's telling me that there's probably a lot of natural reproduction in this lake. Lots of fish, so they don't grow very fast. From what I see there, long and skinny, lots of fish, but not very much size to them. This gentleman came on and told me there's maybe 2 to 3 pounders in here, but I'll wait and see if that's true. There we go, there's a better one. There's a better one finally. That's a better fish. That's a better fish. Just came in at the tail and I didn't even mark it. I was wondering if there's going to be bigger fish. This is a bigger fish. Came back into 6 feet of water, right on that weed edge. And, fish. Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah, that's a cool fish. Fish. But like you see, they're still a lot skinnier than the ones we're used to seeing on some other lakes, because these fish are probably naturally reproducing and doing their thing. Pretty looking fish. The eagle saw me catch this one. He's coming to get it. He's up in the tree right there. Got that nice trout on that little tiny tantrum. Just came in, I didn't even see it on the mark, and we just smashed it. Okay, here is the camera. And I'm gonna put it down the hole now. Looks much better today. I don't know what's different, but maybe the lighting's way better. Now I'm trying this camera out here today. This CANFISH CF1. It's It's actually a pretty impressive little image I've got going here. I'll show you some video from it, but hopefully, well, the light is still good. I'm gonna get my jigging rod down there and we'll see if I can capture some fish coming through on this camera, because actually it's pretty sweet. Nice color, nice picture. Better than it was that perch fishing. It was just too deep and too dark, and it wasn't a great picture. But this is much better. This is pretty cool. I'm glad I set it up. Here we are taking a look at this CANFISH CF1 camera, and next I'm going to drop this camera down the hole so that you can see how it looks underwater and show you the fish behavior going on down below. This is the lake that I was fishing first, which has the smaller fish, and using this small size tantrum by Frostbite tackle, the fish were super aggressive and attacking this lure quite aggressively and swimming around fast. They were coming in hot on this lure during the day, and also you can see there are some really tiny trout in this lake coming in, probably the smallest trout I've ever seen in the wintertime, which usually means these fish are growing very small, because the size of those trout you just saw are the size that most fish are put into lakes in British Columbia, and within a few months they grow to a decent catchable size. Here is a nicer size rainbow trout, but for some reason he gets scared off and he comes by again but stays close to the bottom. Here you can see I'm fishing in about 5 feet of water, and you can see an ATV pull up beside me to say hello above the ice, and another fish coming in fast from behind to see what's going on, but decides not to bite, comes in for another look and takes off. The cool thing is, if you look back in the distance, you'll see the shadow of some larger trout just hanging out, and they just sit there the whole time and never come in to inspect the bait. So while the smaller fish were aggressive and active, some of the bigger fish were just pretty docile, hanging out along that distant space under the ice. You can see them turn to the left right now and just hanging out back there. I'm jigging quite aggressively on this day, and I even tried some different presentations like this spoon and a tungsten jig below, and there goes the fish just swimming by above the weeds. Here we have 3 fish. You can see 2 come in, and they're just going to show how trout quite often can go for a swim just right under the ice, because a lot of their food does live just right up under the ice, and they'll cover the whole water column in this shallower water, which is only about 5 feet deep. They'll go up, they'll go down, and as you can see, this still presentation just hanging below a jaw jacker is not really garnering as much attention as one that was jigged, which definitely brought in more fish. We're on the lake. It's actually a little bit warmer down here, -9. Not really windy. Clouded over, so that blue sky was up higher at the top of the peak. I can already see, looking out on the ice, that a bunch of guys have been fishing here and left sticks all over, probably marking their holes, I'm guessing. Where I never used to see anyone fishing, now there's tons of sticks out there, so someone's been watching my videos. Angulated where I was fishing, I guess. Which is okay. It's up to people to learn and figure things out. And hey, if they get a tip from one of my videos and someone puts in the time to get out to these spots, go for it. They stock fish in these lakes, so there's plenty of fish. So gotta enjoy it. And as much as you think other people are fishing their spots, there's always more spots to check out. So today, ice is cracking. Ice is cracking under my feet. I should check how thick it is, but I'm pretty sure it's thick enough. I don't know if you can see this, might be too dark. I'm just using the GPS to find a spot between these weed beds, and I'm gonna go at a pinch point, and hopefully the rainbows are traveling on those sandy areas along the weed edges. And since this is where two weed edges come together, then I might be in a good spot. Well, it wasn't windy, and then some wind blew up, so hopefully it calms down. There's some flood ice or wash water. It's really shallow here. I think I'm too shallow. I probably gotta go out further. There's one already right there. That fast, look at that. Right away, I dropped it down. I saw him swim by. There's two down there. I didn't even need the jaw jacker. I'll get down because there's a bigger one come by. That was kind of interesting. They seem to be in like a slow mood, like they're not super aggressive, but right away, as soon as I put it down, there's two fish there. And looks like I picked a good spot, only in about 3 feet of water in between those weed edges. There's obviously fish swimming in the area because as soon as I dropped it down on the ice, those two came through, and both of them, but they were just coming through and just like nipping it. They weren't actually getting the hook, so, but that one came through and ate it. Okay, I'll leave the jaw jacker in. I'll grab another rods, get set up. I'm gonna put the underwater camera down in a hole, see what's going on down there. So this jaw jacker's been soaking about 20 minutes after that first drop, where I had 2 or 3 trout coming by, multiple hits, and caught that one. But now I drilled like 5 holes. I'm just gonna drop it for a few minutes in each hole, and you're gonna see if I catch any more. Otherwise, they've moved out off this shallow flat, and then we'll go fish the edge of the drop off. Okay, I'm just gonna hop along here and drop down in each hole quietly and see if there's any fish hiding right around the holes. Nothing there. I'm just gonna fish these holes really fast, like 2 or 3 minutes a hole. Oh, there's one, there's a big one, there's a big one. Got it, he got it, he got him. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one. That is a big fish. He looked like a big head come through. Oh yeah. That's a pretty big fish. Oh yeah, he's pulling hard. See that hole hopping? This is the second hole I tried after I moved that jaw jacker. I've only been here for under 2 minutes when that fish came by. So this is why moving so much really helps. Oh man, that's a nice big fish. Oh man, that's a nice beauty. Nice beauty. Let me get him up here. Oh yeah, that's a big one. Look at that fish. That's a nice one. Oh yeah. Okay. I was losing them all the other day, so I gotta do this gently. Grab them with the bottom lip. Look at that gorgeous fish. It's a colored up buck. I'll probably let that one go. What a beautiful bull. Gotta let him go. Ready to go. He's gonna take off. So see, that's how well that hopping holes works. It's more work, but you catch way more fish. Let's move to the next hole. I'm gonna move all the way out to my hole where I have the camera set up now. That was really cool. On the underwater camera, you could see it fighting. I kind of wanted to let it fight more so I could see it down there, but it got off. It wasn't huge. It was about the same size as the first one I caught. Nice panask. This is cool. Lots are coming by right now. So getting some cool underwater footage with this CANFISH CF1. It's actually putting up a pretty nice image here. I'm gonna get baited back up and get back down there because there's quite a few coming through. Here we go, back under the ice, and you can see a little damsel falling down and swimming off. I thought that was pretty cool, so I included it. This again is that CANFISH CF1 cam, which has a great picture in this clear, shallow water. You can really see the colors nice and a nice definition. I'm just jigging a 7mm tungsten jig in this video, and this is a different view looking over some matted weeds, and there was a trout swimming by. So when I first got onto this lake, right away I caught some fish, and they were coming through pretty aggressively, and then all of a sudden it just went dead. And sometimes when you're not seeing very many fish by looking down the hole or on your sonar, you think all of a sudden the fish are just gone. But what this underwater footage shows is that a lot of the fish are just swimming around in the background. Look, there was just 3 fish swimming by there, and they're really looking to be in a docile mood, swimming slowly along the bottom, swimming along those weed edges, and not really coming in to a stationary presentation. Look, here goes another trout just swimming by slowly, totally ignoring this tungsten jig that's just hanging above the bottom. But then, hey, another one comes in, and look what he does. He just bumps into it with his nose, barely tastes it. He doesn't even inhale the lure into his mouth at all. This video on this particular day shows some of the most finicky trout I think I've ever seen. And even though they looked aggressive, man, they approached with so much hesitation. They must be hook shy. And you see, they just grab the skirt, barely touch the hook before they drop it. Sometimes I come in and I actually wiggle the jaw jacker string, but as you see here, I may have been a little bit detrimental there as the fish missed the hook. Okay, things slowed down in this shallower hole, like 3 to 4 feet deep, so we're gonna move out to 7 feet deep, 8 feet deep, around there, see if anything's moving. If not, we'll move out to like 10 to 12 feet, and then in the evening, as it gets, sun goes behind the mountain, we'll move back in shallow again. Lots of fish came through that shallow hole. Should be fun to see on the underwater camera. There was just one down there. When I walked up, he was trying to bite it. I think they're just biting really soft today, not triggering the jaw jacker off because the holes are freezing a bit. Here's more underwater footage. We're still in about 3-4 feet of water. You can see I positioned myself along a good thick weed mat, and then more of this sandy reeds which are broken off. Here, this is a good indication of how trout feed throughout the water column, especially in shallow water. You can see all of these weeds hanging down through the ice that are stuck and frozen the ice, but the weeds have now disintegrated. A lot of the aquatic insects will hang up close to the ice in those weeds as well, so the fish will cover all depths. Look at this trout just come in nice and slow and touch it, and then seems to get a little bit excited after he gets a taste, but then he doesn't even go in for a second bite. I'm really surprised because I've fished this lake a lot, and a lot of times I do really well as the fish are typically pretty aggressive. But this time they're a lot more finicky, and it can just be dependent on the day, but it can also be because fishing pressure in this area may be increasing, and that happens sometimes. So the fish may be more used to the actual fishing pressure and the hooks being used on this lake, so they may have been hooked and released before, so they're starting to get a little bit smarter and avoid hooks, or at least know what a hook looks like or feels like, because they a lot of times in these videos you're seeing here, they'll come in pretty aggressively and they get close enough and then they turn away, or they actually just bump it instead of biting it. Here, if you look at the fish coming in from the back right, you'll see he's cruising up right against the ice, and that was what I was talking about here at the beginning, is sometimes you need to fish for those rainbow trout just right under the ice because they're cruising up shallow, picking off those bugs that are hanging up below the ice. Also, I'm not sure if you've been watching during these underwater clips. Sometimes you'll see a scud or a damsel swim down from the surface to the bottom, and a lot of times trout will like picking off those bugs as they're rising or descending to the surface of the ice or back down to the bottom. For some reason, these trout keep coming by, but not really into the feeding mode, and it was quite a bit of a slow day, but I couldn't believe how many fish there were cruising by and checking out my lure, but not actually committing. It was just fabulous to see, even on a slow day. So many fish coming by, just really frustrating in that they did not bite. Like, look, they run into the lure with a closed mouth and test it out, and for some reason they get spooked and swim off like they know they've just bumped into a hook. Here's a little bit smaller of a trout, and they don't seem to be as smart. They're a little bit more aggressive in the biting. Here comes another small trout in, really hot, but he gets a little bit closer to this rattle bait, frostbite tantrum, and decides not to hit it. Let's see what's happening here next. Oh yeah, this look at these big bows come in. 2 big bows at one time. And he bumps it, looks excited. He comes and he checks out the camera. Oh, he bites the camera. I have never seen a trout actually bite a camera. I thought that was pretty cool. And they come back to check it out. I could not convince these bigger trout on this day. Look how he just bites the skirt of that tungsten jig. And a lot of times this hair jig is killer for trout. They love this thing. But on this day, I see why I was getting little tiny bites and then totally missing the fish because they were just biting that skirt on that jig and not grabbing the bait or the hook. And even a bunch that I hooked on this day, they came off, and that's probably why as well. They were probably just barely hooked by the lip and not hooked deep enough to be able to fight them to the surface without tearing out the hook. As you see, this trout just came in and slowly swam by. Such a docile mode on this day. There's another one swimming by at the back from right to left. And I actually changed because they weren't taking that tungsten jig to this smaller blob, which has an orange head and some olive skirt with a piece of mealworm. I thought that it would be inhaled easier by the fish and maybe get hooked up. But they weren't paying much attention to it, probably because there was a whole bunch of Daphnia that looked like it just in the water. There we go. Oh, my drag set a little bit too loose. Oh yeah, that's a little guy. Oh, little one. Moved out to 10 feet of water. Already second one. Slowed down in the shallows, so just came out deeper, and they're really not liking an aggressive presentation today. I was jigging a spoon, jigging a rattle bait. They won't even come in to investigate, but you put down just a tungsten jig down there with some bait on it, and they come in and they bite it. Some days you're better off with less than more. Keep that in mind on those days you're not seeing much. Could be that they're just scared off by your bigger presentations. Downsized, go subtle, and they'll come around and eat it. Sometimes that simple moving depths, you know, from about 4 feet to 8 to 10 feet really makes a difference on keeping the bite going throughout the day. There's one. He's there. Oh, there. Oh, he bit. Get rid of this glove. Yeah, he's back. He's back. Bit me again. He's back. There we go. There we go. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, he came off. That was a good one. Oh man, he was pulling drag. This rod's a little bit too flimsy for these trout, I think. They're not getting a good hook set. Okay, I gotta put one of those little bigger meathead tungsten jigs by Frostbite tackle, because losing them on these smaller 7mm tungsten jigs with the smaller hook. So time to try that. I'll put one of their plastic, like an olive colored plastic. I think it's like Dragon Slayer, or I'll look it up. It's in the package. See what I got. Okay, so this is the meathead jig by Frostbite Tackle. That's the smallest size of their tungsten meathead jig. It's got a little bit bigger hook on it than some of the other tungstens you're used to using. And that's the little mini Slayer on it. I think it's just a 2-inch plastic. And this one has got lots of flake in it. And it's olive coloration, which these trout love. So I'm gonna try this out. And let's go see if we can catch a big trout. Got the Circle Tackle Panfish 36 KY 1000 reel. Rigged up with 6-pound test. Gonna tighten the drag up a bit because I was losing the last ones with a little bit loose of a drag. Okay. Oh, okay. Got that mini Slayer on a tungsten jig. Let's see if we can jig up some trout. Well, today's been pretty eventful. Lots of fish coming through. They're not that aggressive. I have quite a few clips of the underwater footage from that CANFISH CF1, which is working really well. The fish don't seem to mind it, and it captured some really nice clear shots under the ice. So I hope you enjoyed that from this video. I was able to position the camera horizontally with just some electrical tape. If you just tape it onto the top of the camera, and it'll hang nice and straight and horizontal, so you can video at the level of your hook if you want. And so take a roll of electrical tape along with you. If you get one of these cameras, it's handy to position the camera any way you want, just by taping the wire wherever you want on the camera so that it hangs at the right angle. This is one of those days where the fish are aggressive, but they aren't searching out these really aggressive presentations. So the rattle bait, the spoon, they were all scaring off the fish. The fish weren't even coming in to see those presentations. You drop a tungsten jig down there with a little bit of marabou on it, and the fish are coming in and grabbing it. Even though they are coming in, when they take it, they're just bumping it. They're really just biting it really lightly. And so you have to be quite ready for them to take it. Usually I can feel the bite by just slowly pulling that lure away, and they'll come up and grab it. Better indicate to you when the fish is actually grabbing it, because you'll feel the difference in the weight as you're pulling up. If you're just holding it there, they can almost grab it and drop it without you even noticing it some days. When the jaw jacker is not going off, it means something is wrong. And today they're grabbing those slow presentations, but they're coming in and they're just mouthing it so lightly they're not even setting off the jaw jacker, which is quite unusual. But these ones might be a little bit hook shy, and you have to give them what they want and be ready to set the hook. Not as many coming throughout deeper here. It's about 1:30 p.m. This is usually the slowest time of the day, but the sun came out, it's getting nice and warm. The wind slowed down, so it feels good to be out here, but the fish just aren't moving around and biting. So what do? We'll just keep on hopping holes, and hopefully we run into some fish. Here we are out in deeper water, about 10 feet deep, and here comes a trout swimming by. He's acting like he doesn't even see the jig, and then all of a sudden he turns towards it and comes in for a look. You'll notice this water is full of these little red bugs, also called Daphnia. The trout do eat them at times, and sometimes the gut is absolutely full of the Daphnia, but other times they're in search of larger food items. And that trout just, of course, like the others, came in for a bump and ignored it. I love the skirt jig on this jig, how it flows, and it usually is really attractive to the fish. Here, if you can see it, there's a blob pattern fly and 3 trout just swimming by in the distance, totally ignoring this. I think it mostly is because it doesn't show up when it's not being moved amongst all of these Daphne in the water column that I really wasn't aware of. I guess I could have seen them on the camera, but I thought I would give this blob a try. Here's a nice big trout coming in on the right hand side of the screen, and he looks like he's gonna come in and take a look, but all of a sudden something scares him, probably myself walking around. I grabbed a rod with a tantrum on it, and I thought I would jig it to see what would happen in deeper water, and I put it to work, but nothing really came in. So I grabbed the hair jig again and put it down, and you see a rainbow trout swimming along that deep weed edge, and he comes in to check out my jig, but again he rejects the jig. This fish just so finicky. Here's another one swimming by along the bottom and pays no attention to this jig at all. It's nice to see fish coming through. You know you're in a good location, but some days, man, these fish can just be frustrating. Really deny your lure. I'm just panning around to show you guys what kind of structure I'm fishing with some standing weeds, weed mats, and sand. This is all in about 10 feet of water, and you have those Daphnia all the way around. This is the varied kind of bottom structure I looked for, but sometimes you see those trout can swim right up under the ice. Here's a nice big trout just cruising along right up under the underside of the ice. I don't have a jig down there right now. I had pulled everything out as I was hole hopping, but I left the camera down just to see what would happen. And some fish are still swimming through, and you see how they come through anywhere in the water column, from the bottom, mid-water to the top. That's why it's good to fish anywhere. Oh my. What, are they grabbing the tail? I think this tail is too long. They're just grabbing that tail, so I'm gonna shorten it up. Because he grabbed it and he was just pulling it, and when I set the hook he didn't have the hook, so I really shortened it up just like that. Missed one there. Oh, there's one. There's a fish. Oh, he bit it. Look at that, these trout, they're just grabbing the tail. They pulled it right down, they pulled off the tail. Now there's not as much out deeper, so maybe I'm gonna move back in shallower. Maybe they're pushing up already on the shoal. So the fish have moved back in shallower. Lost one, caught one. So I moved my camera in there. We'll go fish in shallower for the rest of the visible light we have. There's one more rainbow trout I got while I was off camera. Decided to keep that one since I only have one. Make a dinner out of it. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that show, combination of two different lakes. One with a very healthy, overabundant population. The fish are kind of stunted, compared to another lake where fish can get quite large, even though there's also some natural reproduction and supplemental stocking. One has a limit of 2. One has a limit of 5. I'll let you guess which one is actually doing better. A lot of guys are worried about fish leaving lakes and interfering with the quality of fishing, but a lot of times having too many fish in a lake can be detrimental. Only so much food going around for those mouths, okay? So if guys are catching some fish and keeping them, ice fishing season usually isn't gonna end that lake, okay? I'm glad you stuck around till the end. Thanks for watching as always. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, notification bell so you are aware of when I'm posting another video. Hit the like button, send me a comment below, and share with a friend. Helps out the channel a lot. And good luck out there. God bless, guys. Have a good night. See you later.